I'm Anil Kumar, and in this video I will teach you a technique to find whether the given data represents direct or partial variation or not. The question here is, the table shows the cost of a banquet. Explain if the data represents direct or partial variation. Determine the cost for 150 persons. Now, first part is we need to find whether this data, which shows number of people and cost, for 10 persons the cost is $400, 20 $650, 30 $900, 40 $1150, and for 50 persons cost is $1400. This data represents direct variation or partial variation. That is the first part of the question. Now, to check, how to check for that? To check for direct or partial, what we can do is we can find ratio of cost for number of people, right? So if the ratio is same, then it is direct. If the ratio is not same, then it is not direct but partial, right? The otherwise, what you can also see is if the number of persons double, right? So from 10 to 20, number of persons double. The cost, does it double? No, it does not. It is not 800, it is 650. Perfect. So that also shows that the relation is not direct, right? So how do we check? We check with ratio, right? So first ratio is 400 over 10. The second one is 650 over 20, right? So if you use your calculator, you'll find 400 divided by 10 is equals to 40. So this is 40. Whereas 650 divided by 20 is equals to, in decimals, let's write 32.5. They are not same, right? Since they are not equal, right? So it is not direct. Correct? It is not direct. So what we are leading to is partial, right? Now, so now we know that it is partial variation. Now, how to find the cost of 150 people now from this equation? Now, one way is for partial variation, what do we know? For partial variation, we need to find fixed cost and variable cost, right? So there are two costs involved now. Fixed cost is when the persons are zero. So if there are no persons, then how much should it cost? What we observe here is that as we move by tens, we are actually adding 100 and 250, right? So 650 minus 400 is 250, right? So you're adding 250. So for 0%, it should be minus 250, correct? So 400 minus 250 is how much? Let's do it. So 400 minus 250 equals to 150. So we get a value 150. So let me teach you two methods. This is my method one. This is excellent method, normally not discussed in books. Method one. So we found the cost for 0%, 150. This is my fixed cost, right? So we can say cost is equals to fixed cost of 150 plus variable. For every 10, it is increasing by 250, right? So for 1%, it will increase by 250 divided by 10, which is 25. So it is 25 times n, where n is number of people. So we can say n is the number of people, and let c be the cost in dollars. So these are my variables, and that is how I can relate them. So this is method number one. Now let me teach you second method to do the same thing, right? So method two. In that, what we do is we use any two set of points. So we have 400 for 10 persons, and for 20 it is 650, right? So we can say, since it is a linear of the form, we'll say we'll use different kind of okay, let's use C equals to some fixed cost, right, plus some rate times n. So that is our general equation. We don't know what is the rate and we don't know what is the fixed cost, but we know cost and number of people from these equations. We can use 10 and 400. So 400 is the cost, let us say. So 400 is the cost. That is to say, I'm using this set of values. So here 400 is the cost. We don't know what fixed cost is, we don't know what rate is, but we know number of people are 10 times 10. So that gives us one equation. Now from the second equation, we get 20 people, 650. So we know 650 is the cost for 20 persons. So R times 20. So we get two different equations. So now we have two equations. From these two equations, we can find both variables, right? So if I do 2 minus 1, if I take away, then what do I get? So 650 minus 400 is 250, right? F minus F, the fixed cost cancel out. 20R minus 10R is 10R, correct? Solving, we get R equals to 250 over 10, which is indeed 25, as we found earlier. Perfect. Now to find F, we can use one of these equations. So we say 400, so F is equals to how much? Let's use this equation. From here we can say F is equals to 400 minus, so we'll bring this 10 times 25, R is 25, correct? So that is 400 minus 250, correct? 400 minus 250 is 150. So we get F as 150. Since we know F is 150, R is 25, we can write down the same equation. C equals to 150 plus 25N, right? So that is how you could get equation using two set of points. So we use two set of points from the data to get the equation for partial variation, right? So that is how you could actually solve it. So these are two methods. You can adopt any one of them. I really like this method. It is very fast. You can see from logic we could get the answer so fast. I hope that really helps you to answer questions based on this chapter. Thank you and all the best.